So good morning, everyone. As Sabine and Paul said, I'm Danielle. I'm the marketing manager for TU Dublin Hothouse, and I'm going to be talking to you today about how to digitally market your business, some trends that arrived from 2020 and looking at options for 2021. But before that, I want to just talk to you a little bit about the overview of TU Dublin Hothouse and who we are and how we can help support your idea, your students, the staff in TU Dublin, your business, or just work with you to help you develop out your business or your content. So who are we? Well, we are the Knowledge Transfer Office based in the Grange Gormans campus. We're also the Greenway Hub Incubation Centre, and we are the New Frontiers programme location as well for the city campus. So we work with our staff, our students, our researchers to help them develop their businesses and ideas, but we also work with entrepreneurs, we work with companies who are small to medium or multinational. There's no restriction on who we can assist. So if you have an idea or if you are looking to maybe commercialize or develop, come and have a conversation with us or come and just talk to one of the staff members and we'll see what we can do. So we have different people who work in different areas. So Paul and Sabine you met this morning, but we also have licensing executives who work in the Knowledge Transfer Office. We have administrators for the group and for the centre. We have 2 new staff members, which is why they are blacked out at the moment because we haven't got their pictures taken with COVID. Sabine, who you met, she's our new incubation centre manager, and we've Gloria, who's our new Frontiers administrator. Sean, who works in business development, and myself, who work in marketing. So we also have partners with DRIC. So DRIC is the Dublin Region Innovation Consortium. So if it's not us, so say we don't have the capabilities or maybe they're just not in-house in TU Dublin, but you'd like to work with someone who's in IADT or DIAS or NCI, we have a partnership called the Dublin Region Innovation Consortium, and we can help you facilitate that and develop the businesses there. Because we work with them across all the different areas, if you can't find it in TU Dublin, we'll see if we can help you out and find it there. If not, we also have partnerships with the other universities and the other ITs throughout Ireland. So just a bit about our impact. We work with companies. So in the last, I think this is a 10-year model, but I'll have to confirm that. We have done 41 spin-outs, but this will be updated this year, and you'll actually see new figures for next year. And we have done 400 sustainable businesses, 153 license agreements. So you can see that the impact there is quite impressive in the Dublin region, but this is because of research that comes out of TU Dublin. So it's just from, it could be your student project, it could be an idea that you had while you're doing a lecture, or it could be just you want to do a spin-out company or you have an idea. So come and have a conversation with us. And like I said, we work with across the board, industry, researchers, students and startups. Open Labs is our very specific focus industry one. So within Open Labs, we work with different areas and we have different research centres like the Food Innovation Lab or the Viral, which is the VR side, which is located in School of Business, or we have sustainable research. Like there's different areas that we work with, and if you want to work on the industry focus, and Open Labs is your area. Within the researcher side, we support the commercialization and licensing and the protection of IP. And within the student side, we have a student entrepreneurship program called iCube. Now that has closed for 2020 for obvious reasons, but we're looking at evaluating the program and looking at 2021 for a cross-campus student program, which supports funding and incubation for the students. For New Frontiers, we've just closed applications for phase 2, which is a €15,000 bursary and incubation and a 6-month placement within TU Dublin's incubation centre. But we are looking at 2021 and we'll be rolling out the new programme soon. We also have the incubator. So if you're not aware of the TU Dublin campus, we have Synergy, Link, and ours is called the Greenway Hub. We're in the city campus in Grange Gorman, and the incubator itself is open for visitations as long as you respect the COVID facilities. So if you get permission and you would like to see it, talk to Sabine at the end of it. So today we're going to talk about the trends and best practice. So what have you seen in 2020? Well, most people want to get online. They had to close the traditional storefronts. They had to look at new options for bringing in business. They had to expand their knowledge and their understanding, but most of them weren't prepared for it. They had the traditional storefronts, but they may have not been online. 2020 saw a major shift in the omni-channel experience. So what does that mean? Well, I'm sure you're all aware of what a multi-channel experience is. That is to focus on how to speak to your customers from different platforms and at different sites. So it could be different times, different content, different postings, or it could be just that you have multiple platforms and you want to share that information out. Omni-channel is different. Omni-channel is making sure that you are getting to your customers via the right platforms at the right time, but that it's a cohesive strategy. It's that you're using the platforms to your best ability. So it could be that you have a website, it could be that you have social media platforms, or maybe you're using AI like chat boxes, or you're using just a pop-up from TalkTo. If your customers are able to get you 24/7 and they can get a response from somewhere, then you're using the omnichannel experience to get your message across and to find new customers. However, with the omnichannel experience, you need to have the right content and the right context for that. So do you have pop-ups on your screen where they can sign up for your email? Do you have a Facebook Messenger chat box where if they're contacting you out of hours that there's something coming back from them? Is there a way to record that information that you are making sure that you're getting back to your customers at all time? So think about how you're going to approach them and how your customers can approach you. Are they doing it via their mobile? Are they doing it through apps? Are they doing it through a website? How are they actually getting in contact with you? And have you got the response in place that's going to be suitable?
I'm muted.
No? Is everything okay? I'll continue on. So are you using the voice activation? So AI is a really important tool, and it's something that has come out of 2018, 2019, but we saw a real rise in 2021 for AI. And what I mean by that is Alexa, Siri, or any of those type of programs, or even the response within your WhatsApp or your Messenger or your website itself. You've got the ability to have the multi-platform and omni-channel experience approach. So by using the small elements of AI that's available freely out there, you can actively engage with your customers. So the next one is all about video. So video is not an option anymore. And what I mean by that is if you're not speaking to your customers, you're not going to hear from them. You're not going to hear back from them. They want to interact with you. They want to know the person or the people behind the idea, the platform, the business, the product, the service. They want to understand how you have grown your business from the idea to where it is right now. And it doesn't matter what level you are, they want the interaction. There's no closed doors. They want the open. So are you doing webinars? Are you doing YouTube live broadcasts? Are you just posting a small video yourself using your phone, Android or iPhone? All of them have the ability to share the content out, just like we're talking right now. If you're doing a 1 or 2 minute conversation with your customer, you're going to get more engagement that way. So there are tools to help you support. Canva is one of my favorites. Canva has a free section and a paid for section. And honestly, for I think it was €110 for the year. For the €100 for the year, you get access to unlimited stock photos, designs, templates, the whole lot. Even if you're not a designer, you can put together videos, presentations, share pictures. There's lots of different design ideas you can do, and you do not need to have the ability to do design work because Canva has most of it built for you. If I can recommend anything to use for 2021, Canva is the tool to go. Hootsuite is another one. So Hootsuite allows you to schedule your content out. If you're not familiar with it, go and take a look at the program itself. You can connect to free apps, but if you do the paid for it, obviously you can put more into it. Most people only have the two when they're starting out on the business side. So think about which of the apps are going to be the most effective for you. The downside to Hootsuite is you can't really actively target your customers in it. So what I mean by that is, if you're using Hootsuite, when you schedule your content, they put up a link that targets back to your website or sends them to whatever product or service you're talking about. But they use their own OWL link, so OWL link. So you can't put a specific link in it. You also can't specifically target and tag the companies or the product or service you might be talking about. It's a great way to schedule your posts, but I would think that if you're going to be marketing to customers and you want to be effective with it, try and separate out your platforms or your web and use different content that's suitable for each of the platforms. And then use your calendar. You can schedule in your meetings into your calendar. Everyone has an email account. If you're using a business account, if like Gmail, or if you're using Microsoft Office or whatever it is, use your calendar to schedule in those meetings and keep track of it. You can also put free calendars to schedule appointments into most of your platforms, and you can also put free calendar onto your website as well. And Pixabay. If you cannot afford to do the stock images, and believe me, they're costly, Pixabay offer free Creative Commons licensed photographs. There are other stock images that you can get for free, but Pixabay is probably the best that's out there. And like I said, if you have Canva and you've paid that €100 for the year, you're going to have a much broader scope of pictures there as well. So we're talking about the best practice and we're looking at trends, but we always go back to paid versus organic when it comes to SEO. And I'm not just talking about websites, I'm talking about SEO that's built from LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Any of the platforms you're using, they have inherent SEO. Have you ever been targeted for ads because you've been looking for something? I got a new puppy and I swear to God, I posted one picture of it, and the amount of targeted ads I've gotten for dogs or puppy-based stuff that from just that one thing. So just be aware that what you search for and what you post, they will feed into that organic search and that paid for post. And when you're doing paid for a post, say we take Facebook, people like me, the marketers out there, the people who are posting that, we can segregate down to people who are talking about specific things, down to the location. They're really specific with those posts. So if you want to get your customer, I would recommend that you look at paid for advertising, but not to do it all the time, because your customers get fed up with that. They get tired of it. And you can do it at very small cost to you. You can do a Facebook post, I think, for €1.50, I think was the cheapest one I've ever spent, up to €20, €50, 100,000. I mean, you can put as much money as you want into it. It just depends on how you're targeting. But a small burst ad is more effective than doing the long-term gains, because you're going to get in front of what you're looking for. But make sure it's an effective ad. You've also got the other side where organic. So later we're going to talk about paid versus earned media. And earned media is where one of the trends for 2021 is going to go. Organic SEO and organic customer feedback, that's where people are talking about you online. They're actually pushing your content for you, and that's what you want. You want the people who are talking about you, you want them to actually push out there, because people believe customers more so than they do the businesses themselves. When you talk about your business, you're not going to be as effective as having a third-party customer come in and say, this product, this service, this idea is amazing. Here's how it solved my issue of, or I needed it for, and this is my story. Because that's what they engage with. They want to learn from the stories and how they've helped. But you can use messenger apps and you can use other locations to sell online to do that. So if you don't have a website, or you don't have the ability to build a website, or maybe you're just not in the right place, then I would recommend you look at your messenger apps. So are you using WhatsApp? Are you using Facebook Messenger? Are you using social platforms? All of them have the ability to respond to your customers, and they can go on and look at what you're doing. But you also can go into Facebook, you can go into Wix or Weebly, you can look at any of the sales online websites where you can add in your stuff like Etsy or eBay or Amazon, and do, for a very small fee, push all your business online, put your products online, put your services online. And if you're using something like Marketplace and Facebook, it's free. So if you say that you can't get online, there's too many options out there now to not move yourself into that. And one of the trends from 2020 has been that 8 out of 10 households are online. And this was in December 2019. So you can imagine what 2021's recommendations in 2020 is going to be. If it's not 9 out of 10 households, it's going to be 10 out of 10. There's no area that you can move, there's no reason why you can't move your business online right now. So to start with, why not look at Marketplace on Facebook? Why not look at your social platforms? And if you can't do those, the best recommendation I can do is Google Places. So Google have a free option for any business to get themselves online. It's how they find you. It's how your customers do. When you do your first search, the first thing that most everyone will do is go into Google and search for local business X who provides service Y. Or they'll do a Boolean search where they'll look for, I need help with, or can you recommend this? Having a Google Place and a Google Business Page, which is a confirmed and secured business place, which is free for you to do, allows people to find you. It enables your customers to do recommendations and also to talk about you. But they're not the only directories out there. There are hundreds of business directories. So depending on your location, if you're selling in Ireland or the UK or Europe or the American market or the Chinese, wherever your market is, there's a business directory there for you. Make sure that you're in that location and in the correct language in that location. Google Translate can help you with that. You also have the option to sell if you're a photographer with Adobe Stock or Shutterstock, if you're within arts, within Etsy, if you're in, every industry has their own business place. So try and find where where do you buy from? You're a customer of this specific industry. Where do you buy from and how do you get into that location itself? You also have the options then to target your customers once you start collecting that information. So one of the trends that came out of 2019, 2020 was the people moving from MailChimp and losing their context because of GDPR. So what did we do? Well, we went back to our customers. We contacted them via MailChimp, via Constant Contact, via HubSpot, and said, please come back and sign up with us and give us our permission to talk to you. So you may have only dropped to 10, 15, 20% of your customers, but they are your actual customers that want to hear from you. So if you have lost those customers, they weren't the ones you want to talk to. They're the ones that signed up for whatever giveaway you're doing, or just at the time they needed something from you. But the people who actually came back and re-signed up or re-upped with your whatever your easing is, they want to hear from you. So make sure you talk to them. If you're using MailChimp, there's a free option on it at the moment for template design. So they've brought in a new brand designer, whereas before MailChimp was I suppose, slow to design your different templates and you had to spend a long time to do it. It's much more easier for people who may not have that background to do it. So even if you can't use Constant Contact and you don't pay for it, like HubSpot and Constant Contact, go and use the free option for MailChimp and put that somewhere where your customers can find it. Whatever your post is, if you're using your social platforms or if you're using Messenger, whatever it is, get them to sign up for your email, because you can get your customers to then come and purchase from that site. And make sure you're tracking it. So analytics across the board is a way to be, I suppose, more effective with your different platforms. So are you talking to your customers? Are you tracking them? How are you understanding them? Every platform has analytics built into them, particularly if you look at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, any of those. If you have a business page, you'll have free analytics with them. So make sure that you go back and understand them. If it's shown that a post has done really well, do more of those posts. If it's shown that your post has not done well, look at why. Was it your timing was wrong? Was it the content wasn't of interest? Did you use the wrong picture? Did you not tag the right people? Like, actively look at what content you're putting out there, and don't keep using the same content without going back and evaluating it, because people will lose interest and you'll lose your followers. So in the next slides, we're going to start talking about the media overview. But I just wanted to talk about your audience, to think about this, because we're going to go into the audience and the social platforms in a few minutes. Who are your audience? Where are they located and how do they engage? These are the three core of any social platform or website site. So if your audience is based in the UK market, what what platforms are going to be more effective there? Have you looked at the social side? Have you looked at the website directories? Can you get over there? Do you speak the language? Is the language going to be correct on your website if they can't understand you? So think about your audience. Where are you selling to, and what in that location is going to be the way to get that message across to those customers? So media overview. I mentioned it earlier, but paid and earned media for 2020 and 2021 is how people are getting their message across. So I'm a marketeer. I want to get my message across, and I want to talk to the customers who are in the national stage about a research that we've developed. I can pay for it. I can go and get a paid publication done. I can get all design work done. I can get an influencer to come on board and talk about it. I can do pay-per-click advertising. And that's fine, and people do it, and it has to be done. And particularly in the tourism market, you see a lot of media pieces that are paid marketing when they invite down the bloggers or the guests to come and do it. But earned media is much more effective. So how do you get that earned media, and what do I mean by that? So PR pieces in the media that are run through, say, Silicon Republic, a lot of those are earned media. So you've built up a relationship with that journalist, with the writer. You have something to share with them. But what they don't want to know is they're not interested in the sales pitch. 2020 has actively shown more and more good news stories about people supporting each other and helping each other grow their business and supporting local business, because we can't get out to support those local businesses. They want to hear about how your idea or your research or your business is actively engaging in the COVID response. So have you changed your business? Were you a gin making company that is now making antibacterial wipes and antibacterial hand wash? Were you a business that used to sell food, but now you need to do it through Just Eat delivery? Like, what are you doing? What have you responded to COVID, and how have you helped your customers get over not being able to get to you? That's what they want to hear. They want to hear those good news stories, and they want to know that you are being impactful in your area. They don't want you to come and say, I need you to do this piece. They want the story written for them, and they want something that is going to get shares and likes, because you're making their life easier, but you're also helping your business as well. So having that PR piece in the media and sharing it out, that's going to be more effective for earned media than anything you can do on the pay-per-click side. But you can also start looking at your local papers and your local radio stations. So they need stories. They're looking for them. RTE and Today FM, the Sunday Business Post and the Irish Times have all contacted me recently looking for stories. They don't get enough good news stories, because all we're hearing at the moment are the bad ones and the responses, for obvious reasons. So we need to get the good news stories out. I'll give you an example. In the last couple of weeks, we've had good news stories from Hothouse, but we've worked on them. We've had award wins from students. We've had investment round funds. We've had new businesses spin outs. We've had cross campus. I think we had 14 awards across campus. So we have actively gone after those, but we have gone back to our customers and said, what is happening in your business right now? How can we help you get that news out there? Can I introduce you to our contacts? Can we support you? Can we help you market it? Because it's not just for them. We actually get the benefit from it as well. So TU Dublin has got that benefit, and so has Hothouse, because we want to get our news stories out there and we want to build a relationship. But we're also getting those customer referrals online. So we're getting those customer referrals because we're being tagged in those posts now. They know that we're going to share that content. They know that we've got the followers and the thought leaders and the influencers in our area, because we've built that over time. So they're tagging us in and we're sharing that content. So we're building the organic growth, and you can too. Speak to your local journalists. Who is in your area? Who's in your industry? Who do you read yourself? And contact them. Say, I'm person X and I have this idea, or I have this research. I'd really like to build a relationship with you. Do you have time for a virtual cup of coffee? Would you like to know more about us? Can I send you on content? Would you be interested in? And build that relationship there. So what don't they want? They do not want a sales piece. Do not send them something that is going to be ineffective for them, that when they post up, it's just a sales piece and customers can see it's a sales piece. So even if you are selling them your product, your service, your idea, make sure it's in a way that it's going to be a campaign for your customer. So is it going to be something that they want to buy? Is it something that they want to know about? Is it knowledge that you're sharing and you're going to get the information across? So gift them with that idea. Be a thought leader. Be someone that when there's an event or a webinar or there's someone needs to come and talk about that specific area, you're the person they think of, because then you get connected with, they're great. So-and-so is a good presenter, so-and-so has that information. I can just email them and say, can you come online and actually talk to us today? They have that information ready to go, they can come and do it. Be consistent in your posting. So if you're not consistent, if you've got so many things going on that customers they don't understand what you're doing, you're going to lose your customer base. And also you're going to lose your media base. So if you're constantly sending stories that the media don't understand, that PR pieces are just ineffective, they're not going to take you on board. So be consistent. What I mean by that is have your layout for your PR piece, have your title ready to go, have your high-res photograph, have your first paragraph, because let's be honest, that's the first thing that people see and that's what's going to be, you need to get your point across within that first paragraph. But if you want to give them more information, if you want to give the editors more stories and you want to be more developed within that relationship, put it in an editor's notes section where you can actually give that information into it. And subject line matters. So if you're not going to give them a good subject line, they're not going to read it. If you just send them saying PR piece for you, they don't care. But if it's something like award-winning company has developed, product X, that's what they're going to read. That's what they're going to see. Be conscious. So what are their media deadlines? A lot of papers and a lot of publications have different deadlines for publication. While a lot of people can get up online, there's certain things that you have to be aware of. If you're going to be pitching to them, make sure you pitch early and get it in front of them as soon as you can. And then develop those relationships. So if you have a relationship with the writer, you know that you can email writer Y and say, I have a story coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm going to give it to you first. You're going to get the benefit of sharing it. I'm not going to send it to anyone else. If you want a wider scope, you can send it out to all media and say, this is a generic post for everyone. We have done this and everyone needs to know it. There are different options for media. So you just think about what's going to be best benefit for you. Be socially conscious and be aware of what's happening in the world. So we are in a very strange time right now with there's so much happening in the world outside of COVID. So if you're not socially conscious and if you're posting something that's going to damage your brand, don't bother. You're going to lose your customers, you're going to lose your business, you're going to lose everything that's happening, everything you've built. So be timely. There was an issue, I remember, with the Dove campaign in 2018 where they were posting and it turned out to be something that their customers saw as horrifically racist, but it wasn't intentional, and then they damaged their brand. And then they came back in 2020 with Be Body Beautiful, which ended up nearly changing the mindset of the people. Just be aware of what's happening in the world and be careful when you're posting. People remember. I can still remember campaigns that have gone horribly wrong from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they always stick in my brain. So just be aware of what you're posting. Okay, so I've given you in the next couple of slides some demographics. We were talking about where your customers are or where they could potentially be. And in the slide deck that I'll be sending out later, you're going to have a link to all the demographics that you'll ever need. And they up them every year and we keep an eye on them. So I've given you some international demographics there for Facebook and Twitter, just to give you an eye of give you an idea of where your customers may be. So as you can see, 79% of the 30 to 49-year-old market is on Facebook, whereas the 44% of the 18 to 24s are on Twitter. But they're also saying that 76% of 18 to 24s are on Facebook. So it starts getting a little bit confusing. But if you're to think about it, if you look at the 79% of the 30 to 49-year-olds, they're the people that have been with Facebook from the very beginning, from when it started. They've built their Facebook loyalty in that. They're the people who actively go back on. They've got friends on there. They've got family all over the world. They go and post. They've got groups. You know, they're the group. If you're looking to sell to that age group, then that's the place you want to go. So that's the international demographics. If we look at the Irish market, we can see that at the moment, Twitter has 1.61 million users. This was in January 2020. Can you imagine what that user base is going to be when we look at these again in 2021? So this data report that I'm showing at the moment was developed at a national survey level, and it's the one that I would recommend that you look at. It's probably one of the better ones that's out there. There are different surveys that are done. There's not great statistics for customer base, but you can contact your own customers and do it yourselves. So Sabine is going to post our first poll so I can show you what I mean by that. Sabine, can you post the personal customer poll, please?
Yes, so the first poll should be appearing now.
So if you look in your chat box, there's a poll showing up there. Okay, so we'll do the business one first. The business question I've asked you there, this is a very, very basic poll. I've asked you, what is your preferred social media platform for business? So you as a customer, where do you buy your items from, or where do you look for, or where do you understand, or maybe just engage with the businesses? So I'm asking you this poll. We are in a presentation right now, and it's information that I want to know. All of your platforms that you're on have this ability to do it. This is just a basic one. So if you want to click into this, I can see the statistics coming straight back to me, and that poll themselves can give me the information. So I can see that sorry, I can't see the poll. I'm going to just make it up. I can see that, you know, 40 of you are on Twitter. I need to post to you on Twitter because that's where the customer base is potentially be. But I'm just making the statistic up because you, as a business or as a researcher or whatever way you're getting your idea out there, you want to hear back from them, whether it's through SurveyMonkey, which you can do up to 10 free questions, or it's the social platforms that you're using yourself. Make sure you talk to your customers and get the questions out there that you want to know. Ask them what you want to know. Ask them where they would like you to contact them. What do they want to see? What stories do they want to hear from you? They're going to engage with you, and they're going to like you for coming back and getting their understanding of it. So I've also given you LinkedIn, which you can see is where the business side is. Facebook, which is where #1 still in Ireland. So I've given you the top 5, and Facebook is still #1. And I've also given you Instagram, and I've given you TikTok as well. So there's no statistics on TikTok at the moment, but we're going to talk about the platforms, and I'm going to go through the slides on them. So the top 5 and 6 platforms are Facebook, then Twitter, then LinkedIn, then Instagram, then TikTok, then Pinterest. If you're on any of those platforms or you're not on them for business, then you're not reaching your customers. That's where your customers are in Ireland. It doesn't matter what type of customer are, they're the top 6 platforms for users in Ireland. But what I've given you in this presentation is the statistics that you will need to figure out where your customers are. So you can see when we go into the users where your Irish demographics are, and this is from November 2020. These are the most up-to-date statistics that I could find, and there's only the 4 available at the moment. I expect the rest of them to come in January 2021, and the link that's in this presentation will take you to that. But like I said, you can also do your own polls and ask them where they're based. So depending on where your customers are, then look at those trends. So if you are not selling on Facebook and you can't figure out why, it could be that your customer is not there, or they're using the wrong platforms. Maybe your website is not it's not, you don't have the ability on the website. Maybe it's not an e-commerce site. Maybe it's not suitable for it. You know, there's lots of different ways that you could be losing customers. So think about how you want to get your message across and where your platforms are. So as you can see, we also have LinkedIn and Messenger. What's interesting is the amount of people using Messenger. So if you look at the Facebook, which has just under 3.5 million users, and we look at the Messenger app itself has 2.5 million users, the people who are on Messenger may not be the same that are people on Facebook. So having your app in your chat box in Messenger is really important. And if you want to get your message across, make sure that you have the ability to talk to your customers. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is webinars. Webinars, like we're doing right now, is how we're getting, is how we're getting our message across. We can't do live events, we can't meet you in person, so we have to be able to talk to our customers. We want to be able to give the information and get the information out there. So we do these webinars. Hothouse ourselves are doing webinars so we can get and give knowledge to our staff, our students, our researchers, our companies that we're working for, as a way of sharing sharing the information out there. But we're also making sure that we are involved in webinars with our partners. So we're working with Enterprise Ireland, we're working with Knowledge Transfer Ireland, we're working with IRGG, we're working with DRIC, we're working with TU Dublin wide, we're working with companies. It depends on how we want to get that message across. By doing webinars, we can get our messages across, but also support the companies, researchers, and so on. So you need to think about, where is your industry located? What business are you trying to get across? What information? Who are you speaking to? Is there someone who's already doing a webinar that you can maybe come on as a panel discussion, so you don't have to run your own one? Is there someone who can do a tutorial? Is there a how-to guide you can put up there? You know, your phone is just as effective as your laptop or your desktop. And doing a short video gets a message out really quickly. You can do a live story through YouTube, so you can live stream straight away and it's free. Facebook has it, Twitter, Twitter has a really good connection with the different areas where you can live stream on it. Same with Facebook, and you can share that content out to everyone. So if you can only do one platform, find that platform is going to be suitable for you and run through it. But if you can afford to go the other way, then maybe you start looking at Zoom, which has a 40-minute free option before you go to paid. You look at maybe it's going to be Microsoft Office. If you're in TU Dublin, we have a Teams option that you can actually share like we're doing right now. So think about what you want to say and get that information out there. The best recommendation I can give you for webinars is to make sure that you're talking to the customers. So we get a lot of feedback from our webinars, and we get a lot of requests for different webinars and student requests. So you can see that we've got some of the lecturers in the room. They're lecturers who have asked us to come in and talk to their customers and their students about maybe it's IP or research development. But we also get customers coming in to ask us, can we give them more information about certain ideas, which is why we're actually doing the marketing webinar today. People want to know about what's happening in the Learn at Launch series and what's going on. So we listen and we try and help them, try and support as best we can. But what we're not doing is a launch of our product. We're not doing a sales pitch much. We're trying to get our information across without, I suppose, damaging our brand. And that's what a webinar is. It's a way for us to talk to you as face-to-face as much as possible. So think about it. Think about what's going to be effective for you, and would webinars work for you? And if it's not a webinar, is it maybe just a video? Maybe it's just a stream. There's lots of ways to get that information out there, and just see what happens. So I thought I'd give you an overview of, I suppose, a day in the life or a week, I'm not sure, and what we did before and what we're doing at the moment and who we support and how we get our message across. So the biggest one for us is what would you say our most effective form or type of marketing is? So into the chat box. Okay, Paul is saying LinkedIn, events, word of mouth. Nice. Okay, yes, word of mouth for us is actually the most effective. We get a lot of referrals in. Twitter. Nice. Okay, we get a lot of referrals in from customers and from our partners, but we also get a lot of information through our social platforms. The two platforms we only use are Twitter and LinkedIn. We have a lot of supporting platforms, which we use, like YouTube and the other tools and templates that I was talking about earlier. But for us, we use LinkedIn and Twitter, and that's it. We've just stopped. I mean, we could go on to every platform in the world, and we do get tagged. I see a lot of tags on Facebook, a lot of tags on Instagram for us, but they're not where our customers are. They're not where our business needs to go, and it's not where we want to be. So we try and be as effective as we can on Twitter and LinkedIn. We also have a website, but as you're aware, we're under a merger, so our website is not suitable for where we want to go. It's still really effective to get the word out, but it's one of the older websites, so customers are not getting the best approach, I suppose, to a website. Once the new websites come online, then we'll change that around again, and we'll do more on the website side. But our videos are actually the ones that are leading. Our YouTube channel has been, I suppose, for any 2020 trend, our YouTube channel is actually the one that's led, because it's where we host our videos that we've developed. It's where we host our client stories. It's where we host our webinars, and they feed into our websites and through our partner channels. So for you, you need to think about what is your marketing approach and who you're talking to. I know I keep saying this, but that's actually what you need to do. Who am I talking to? Where are they located? And how do I get my message across them? For us, if it wasn't for our partners and for our, I suppose, our active marketing, that's probably the best way to say it, then we wouldn't be able to get our story out. We'd just be based in one location and not be effective within our business and not be able to support the research and innovation that we want to do. So yes, it does take work, and marketing is hard, but if you're effective in it, then it's worth it. It's worth it to get your message across and to get recommendations from your customers and to hear back that you helped them somehow, or to hear that a student startup that I met when I first started my business is now doing a spin-out company and has gotten crazy investment, and to see that progression over a year and a half has been insane. But that's through support, that's through getting the story out there, and the impact has been insane. So have a look at it and see where you want to go. So I have these two campaigns I want to show you, and I know that I've shown some of you before, but they're two of my favorite. I'm sorry, this is not, oh, there we go. It's two of my favorite. So I'm a huge fan of Reynolds, and the campaigns at the moment, I have to apologize for the language in one of them. I couldn't find one without it, but there's a reason for it. And I want to show how effective campaigns in 2020 can be, and how with little money and little, I suppose, development, something like this could be done. So his first one is for his two businesses. So Aviation Gin is the first one. Can you hear this?
It's back to school time, which this year has a whole new meaning. That's why today I'm introducing Aviation American Gin Homeschool Edition. It's just like the classic, delicious aviation gin that you love, but with more ounces. It can help with a variety of subjects, fourth grade geography, whatever the new math is, and revisiting your own long-forgotten middle school traumas.
Middle school is the worst.
Sorry. Okay, so why that worked really well was they had this amazing campaign that he had set up, and they were running about, he does a lot with emails. He actually sends personal emails to anyone who signed up to his MailChimp or their version of MailChimp, but he sends personal emails to his staff members as the boss. He's really hilarious with it, but what they do that's really effective is they share it on their social media, and it's not Aviation Gin sharing it, it's their followers, it's their staff members, it's their, anyone who's engaged with them is what they share, and he is effective with it. So he brings in, I suppose, forgotten celebrities that maybe, like he had is it Nick Moranis, is that his name? the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He had him in, and he did a couple of pieces with him, and he went viral with them. So they've done really interesting stuff, and he's built up a relationship with his customers for aviation gin that wasn't there before, and he's taken it just completely crazy. But the second thing he did in 2019, 2020 was he bought into a mobile company, and I'm just going to show you this one.
Introducing. Oh, and right after that, we had to stop production on my first ad as owner of Mint Mobile because. So instead of an epic ad, I created an epic slide. Mint Mobile is premium wireless for just $15 a month. Crazy, right? See, slides can be compelling. Go to mintmobile.com. Oh, the Mint Fox.
Okay, so what he's done there was, if you actually look at the ad, and I recommend you do, he has got these really interesting folders on his advert about his wife Blake, and he was in this film Green Lantern, which got slated. So there's a couple of pieces about that, and the upcoming celebrity feud with Hugh Jackman, which has been going on for a couple of years, but they've really outdone themselves because they have these two charities that they support. So this year they're actively going after each other in charities. They're actually really good friends, but they're using this fake celebrity feud to fuel interest in it, and it's working really well. So you think about it, you may not have the celebrity status or whatever for your business, but look at how you understand your customer base. They really understand their customer base. So here's a bad example of a campaign from last year. Does anyone know what like a treadmill is? Sorry, I presume you all know what a treadmill is, or a workout machine or anything like that. So there was a company, thank you. There was a company that put out an advert in for Christmas last year, and it's about a husband buying his wife a workout machine. And this wife, I mean, she's perfectly proportioned. She does not look like she needs to work out, and it's really ineffective ad, and it's detrimental with the Me Too campaign and everything that happened with it. And they used this actress who, looked really happy, and there we go. Sorry, thanks for that. For Peloton, thank you, Liam. That's exactly who it is. I could not remember for the life of me. So Aviation Gin came out and gave her a bottle, used the exact same mattress, and gave her a bottle of Aviation Gin. And it was they shot it straight after she had received this present from her husband from Peloton. So Peloton just dropped dramatically in their sales, and people reacted obviously really badly to it. But Aviation Gin came back and said, nope, here's the fun side of it. And have a look at both campaigns and see what you could have done better, or what could have been done better. And particularly because they weren't socially conscious and they weren't aware of what's happening in the area. Okay, so sorry.
It's back to school time.
So the last thing I want to talk to you about, I know I've gone over time there, but I just want to give you an idea of what funding and supports are available for you. So there's multiple funding and supports that are available for customers and for businesses and for ideas. Well, the one I'd recommend is the very first one there. If you're looking to develop a business, the Enterprise Ireland and the local enterprise offices have a trading online voucher scheme for $2,500, and it's a match fund grant to get you online. It's to build an e-commerce website. There's loads of different areas that you can do for the businesses, so that's the one that I'd recommend. There are other funds there, and they're in the slide. So my recommendations for you and for 2021 is tell a story that your customer wants to hear. Survey your customer base and